I think they're looking for an.
From a Bell County perspective, they need to kind of get an idea of what Integrators does. So, you know, from an APM provisioning standpoint, and then passing records over to full DFLAM, and then what the fallout we're seeing is, you know, even if we could recreate or show an orange screen at death, even, which I don't know if we want to do, but I mean, just a good overview of what it does, and then what we're seeing from a major fallout perspective.
Okay. Well, right now, our biggest fallout is working left ends that something that hasn't been disconnected. Those usually are these. They can either be disconnects, or they can be. What Service Created is telling me is that, like, if we look at this one here. Okay, so here's our fallout. If I go to detail, it's going to tell me the logs will always tell you what reason that it fell out for. So this shows everything that this went through. So here it's telling us that the port is already used by the following circuit. So then I would take that circuit, and I need another window here. And now I'm going to browse by the telephone number. So here's our, and here it shows there was a disconnect in here that's pending. And it'll bring me the whole screen. Oh, okay. So this is on my other screen here. It says that one of these was in temp deny. So what I want to do is look at the logs here, see when this disconnect was to go through. Okay, so the disconnect went into auto, and it's just sitting in there. So what I can do then is go in and disconnect the service. Makes me kind of nervous. Okay, so I want to see what date this was. 10/9. You know. So since this is what this is showing me is that this is a bonded pair, which I really don't want to rip out if it's not. So what I'm going to do is go in and just check and see if I can see that the order completed. Okay, so it tells me that this disconnect did complete. So I'm okay with taking this out now.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, Kyle, I can hear you.
Okay, so while she's doing that, the working left in is a large scale problem, and we've got lots and lots of old records out there, and there's actually a tool in development that's going to go out and help clean up the database by comparing NCON. She must not hear me.
Usually what I would do is go back and look at NCON, but I think since it's due today, we can use our XML image. So our XML image is what comes from Service Delivery and NCON, and gives us all the assignments and everything. Sometimes if there's been an update and it doesn't flow through, that's why I don't like to use it, but I don't think we have that problem with this one due today. So I'm going to take my location, which would be my silly code. And go back over to my provisioning tab. And I'm going to add my silly. And then here's our device, our relay rack is the 01CAV01A. And then our port, a shelf button port is the 1, 7, and 16. And I got that there. And then I'm going to find that and I hit the muck. I did the get the pod port, now get the muck port, and it should put that over here. Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on. Mess it up. You have to have it open here. Okay, so I'm going to find it here. Map it. Okay, so my next step then would be checking our speed.
And what type of order is this one,
This
Kathy?
is also a bonded pair. So it looks like it tried to already put it in. The 3153. 3153. I'm just verifying what, because otherwise we would build this. We'd put in our speed over on the provisioning tab down here, and we would then come to our IPTV services tab and build that. That is, that one shows you up here, but it's for DSL, and you would do your IP data services, and you put in your speed here. It's Ethernet, RVLAN, that was back here. Unfortunately, I can't go back once I get this screen open. So it was 3153. It's PPOE unless it's it has prism on it. Then we're going to come down and put in our host. We would do the eyeglasses, find that, and then it was then you just find that, and then you do okay, and then that's in there. So this one actually should now be okay because we got rid of that working lesson that was holding up everything, and I should be able to put it into active. And this asks me, changes, do you want to save them? Just say yes. And then we'll go back over here. It gives me the process status of IPTV ready to complete. And I'm going to leave it in automatic since it's due today, because anytime in Integrator, anytime you're working on a order, and I put this in complete, if there's any other changes to that order, they won't come through. So you want to leave it in pending as long as you can. If it's an order that's already went through the system, you're not going to have anything coming back through there from service delivery on there. But it's better to leave it in pending.
So, hey, Kyle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So by changing it to automatic, are we pushing this RV order to the automation engine, or are we resolving the fallout?
No, okay.
So I have a question. So is this going to like is this just updating like the Telcordia OSSs, or is this going to the device and or the EMS and talking to that directly?
I don't think it does either.
Okay.
That I don't know a lot of that, but what I know on the IPTV, all these here, anything that's not an ATM, everything all those are actually provisioned in and translated in NCON. So if it's in NCON, it's working. We're just making this show up because now, and I don't know if you want to see that, this will make it show up in full DSLAM.
Okay,
Is full DSLAM another application?
Right.
yes.
Yeah, web application.
Okay, now here is our order that we had. And the full DSLAM is used by the rest of the company to be able to troubleshoot the text in the field. So and repair if a customer calls in and they've got a problem with their service, then it's going to show up in full DSLAM. If it doesn't show up, it may very well may be working if it's not ATM. It very well may be working. I've seen ones that weren't in full DSLAM for years, but there's never any problems, so they didn't have to, they didn't need to see it. But so this is what full DSLAM looks like on this one. And it's telling us it's vectored. It gives you the assignments, so where it's at. And then like here was our shelf slot and port. It's got all the information on here. So here was our 1, 7, and 16. And where it was at, and what the speed is. It's a 5x65. Now, you know what? We do have a problem here. So, and remember I said it was pair bonded?
Mm-hmm.
And it shows here that it's pair bonded. But what this should show up here is a pair bonding flag, and it's not showing us that. So, we really aren't done. So let me show you then. It will show you what they're actually getting in the field when the tech is out. So, okay, so it's saying that it's part of a bonding group, but it doesn't appear to be bonded that way. So it's only giving like half of the speed. So now what I want to do, something to be lands active. Okay, so now what we're going to do from this one, go back in and find our second, our bond, that it's bonded with. So where's my order?
So Kyle, do we use consecutive ports to do the bonding on the Quest side?
I don't know that they have to be consecutive. We'd probably have to go to like Gary Stacy or someone for the rules on that.
Okay, so we were working on bond 1. Here's bond 2. Technically, I could have found this in here too. It shows me this is the second bond. Okay, the 1157, we were working on bond 2. Sorry about that. So we were working on bond 2. One 157.
Mm-hmm.
And this will give me my second bond. So let's go over and find that one. Okay, so this one isn't working either. Okay, so this shows me probably what happened here. It's also service created. And in the beginning of the day, what I've been trying to do with these is go back in and run these service created back through, because I've been noticing when they do that at night, it'll take about half of them out of there. So they've already been discontinued, so then we don't have to go look at them. So this one also looks like it had a working lockdown. Well, believe this is probably the same order that we had. So that one was a bonded pair too. I'm going to go ahead and discontinue this one. It'll ask me, do I want to save my changes? Make that automatically complete so it doesn't try to work again. This is 1, 7, and 5. Search for it, get the passport, not the passport. Thinking that looks good. Okay, so now what I want to look at. This is our first one. Get my service ID for that because I'm going to check what it says it's bonded in. Now it says it's okay. So it says it's properly bonded here.
So when you get these, when you get this fallout, like, I mean, does it take, what's your average time to fix one of these?
Well, like on one of these, on a bonded, it depends on what the problem is. It can take, especially on a bonded pair like this, 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes it's been an hour, depending on what the problem is. And sometimes it's maybe 10, 15 minutes. So it just depends on it. And sometimes what happens with this fallout, and some of the errors that we have, is sometimes when I try to provision it, for some reason we'll get we call it the orange screen of death. When you try to put the assignments in, or multiple other times, but it'll give you an orange screen and it knocks you completely out of the system. So then you've got to go back and log back in, and then usually that ends up with help desk ticket because there isn't anything that we can do to get rid of that.
Mm-hmm. Is that like on the Integrator?
So,
Yeah, it's an ab-end on back to the screen.
So that means there's bugs that are unresolved.
Right,
Correct.
right. And from what I've seen, and Amanda could probably say that, there's a bunch of different reasons that you might get an orange screen, but there's just not one thing that tells you. Okay, so see the difference in this now that we've done both sides of that. Now it says that it's pair bonded. So if a repair person or a tech or anybody gets a call on these, they could look this up and go, okay, I know it's pair bonded. They can see what the information here gives us, our customer information. This we don't pay a lot of attention to down here, but I know that repair uses that. So, and then,
Do the repair team use PoldSlam, or they have a mobile app to verify these details?
then this is what the technicians and especially repair, if they get a call from a customer, they don't have any visibility to the service at all unless we've got it built in PoldSlam. So what this tells me, it says the ports are properly bonded, whereas before when that other one wasn't built, we got the message that it says it appeared to be a bonded, it was in the bonding group. now that we've got it both built, it says they're properly bonded, so we know all the programming's okay. Right now they're down, both sides are down. Otherwise they would have this, like what they have is the speeds and everything would be in here.
Mm-hmm.
So that would all be there. I think probably why this one is down is usually a bonded pair has to have a technician go out. So the technician doesn't have it yet, and once he gets it hooked up and everything, then all this will all turn green, and he can check the speeds and their authentication and everything. So that's why it's important for it to be in Integrator, because if it's not, repair and the technicians can't check anything when they go out. So that's why it's important for us to have it in there. If it works fine, it doesn't matter, but when things break, they need to have it.
All right.
Why do they have two telephone
Kyle
numbers?
You have to make sure it shows.
Why do they have two
Kyle has a
telephone
couple
numbers on two
questions,
ports?
I think if you just let me see, let me just see, where's Kyle? No, he's not on mute.
I'm sorry, who are you trying to get rolling?
We can't hear Kyle, right? So
Yeah, I
how do
I
we
can hear
get-
Kyle.
Some people can hear me and some can't, is
Kyle,
kind
Yeah,
of
I
what's
think-
going
yeah.
on.
I think we are on two different audios.
Yeah.
well, we could Skype him.
we could ask him to dial in, or I gave him. Let me just do it.
So Kyle, in the example which Kathy was showing, bonded, each port had a different telephone number. Is it how it normally works, or?
I believe that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till he dials in. So I mean, we can continue till and when he dials in. So what's the sort of like volume of these orders that you do fall out every day?
Well, today's, when we go back on, there's probably usually at least a couple hundred during the day. I'll show you what we have it programmed. Our DSL dashboard shows us today we have, well, right now there's 76 in fallout.
Mm-hmm.
And past due will run for maybe a week, shows you. So this says we have 1,447 in past due for just this week.
Mm-hmm.
So our volume's usually a couple hundred. Like this tells us the past. Like I said, the past. This is the future. We have, and actually what I have done is rerun everything through the 13th because I wanted to see if it would make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That Saturday, so I've been experimenting with that this week. But so it's like starting next Monday, there's 166 in fallout, 128, and they change all the time. So anytime an order goes through or gets canceled or changes, it just because I have 166 in here today, I can get rid of these, and I might have another 186 tomorrow.
Hey, Kyle, rejoin. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, Kyle, I can hear you.
There we go.
Okay,
So-
you had questions, Beth?
Well, yeah, just a couple of things, to help folks understand. Pole DSLAM. Pole DSLAM is a tech that, or is a tool that's in the hands of the field techs. Repair has access to it. We have access to it. The general order flow is that the order goes, it activates in the network from NCON service delivery, then is passed to Integrator. Integrator is updating a database called the ISIS. And once that ISIS database is updated, the field tech, that's what Pole DSLAM would pull from. And so that's how, so typically the field tech has an app or a button or a call into the assignment group, says, I'm ready to go release my order, because that order is sitting in service delivery waiting to program to the network. They say, okay, and the order goes off its merry way, but the tech can't see what speed or any of that information that came through on how it was programmed until Integrator has updated ISIS. The programming's actually taken place, NCON is updated, it's active, but if we haven't updated the ISIS database, the tech doesn't have any way to, it doesn't have visibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was trying.
But it's only coming to Integrator for the fallout, right? Or
no. No, they all come to Integrator for the update, and what the center here is working are the ones that fall out.
Okay, all right, and then you're entering the same application. You're entering basically Integrator screens to help manage the fallout.
Right.
And after updating on the Integrator, Kyle, can you hear me?
So, and the only thing
Hello,
that,
Kyle.
like Kyle said, all these go through service delivery. The only ones that don't are ATM.
Right. Yeah, that's the one exception.
Right.
Raj, I sent that in that other email.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And ATMs have to be programmed in Integrator for them to work.
And then when you're actually talking to the network for ATM, you go through that UMS or that umbrella screen, right?
So you mean anything that's
I don't.
any DSL customer that's on ATM will have to get manually done?
No. Like we only work, everything that doesn't flow through is what we get in Fallout.
Okay.
So a lot of them just flow through, they're okay. But anything that doesn't go through the automatic flow through process or has a problem, then it falls out into Integrator in our Fallout. I was looking to see. If I could find an ATM. Okay, so in Integrator, the IPTV tab, it means that it's IPTV. So those are all programmed in NCON. And, but anything with a 0 over here is generally an ATM. And the other thing that is, if it says it's manually locked, a lot of these manually locked are also working left-ins. But it's locked because whenever it comes over, it sees it's already programmed. Means you need to go look at it and see why.
Where does it say locked?
You need to go look right here. Well, it will say this one that says true. It says, are these manually locked? And it says, yeah, this one is. So it's saying there's already some assignments in there. So Integrator tells you need to go look at this because they can't put the assignments in. There's already something there. So all these a lot of times are working left-ins also. I mean, I can look at this one probably. Since it's locked, see, it will say the service order is manually locked. And it tells me what this is trying to do is put in an IPTV or, and this probably, not true. Okay, so this one says the assignments on here, 2, 1, and 3. And these aren't our assignments. So probably one of these other orders, someplace in here, the order was probably canceled that had those assignments. So, and somebody's working on this right now, so I don't want to get in that. So, yeah, so, but that tells me, and that's what Integrator does. When it tried to put it in and put these assignments in, it's seen it already has assignments, and so it stops it and tells you to go look at it. Now, the other thing, since this is IP data on here, if I looked up this telephone number in PolDFund, it's not going to be there. And so if the technician's out trying to put this in today, when he looks it up, he'll see that it, because once they are provisioned, this IPTV services tab is going to be red, and then we'll be able to see it. But right now, it says it's not there. They found it, but it's not visible because it's not processed yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the technician would see. So he would see that there's a problem. Then they would call us. They should call us if they don't see it in PolDFund, because that's our responsibility to make sure that it shows up in there. So like I said, this one's being worked on right now, which I could tell by the logs that one of my coworkers has it, and they just discontinued it. Like I said, there was something in there, so now she's going to build it back in the right, with the right stuff. She could have a call, on it from the technician.
Kathy, can you just hold on 1 second? Let me see if I can dial the bridge and join that. Because I think we're on the Skype bridge and the other folks are on the other bridge. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by the pound or hash sign. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue.
You are in the meeting now.
There are over 10 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
Ooh.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry about that. Okay.
That's good.
Is Ramu, Balaji, are you guys here now?
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me, Raj?
Yep.
Okay. So, is there anything else you want to see on this one? In Integrator, your logs are going to tell you every time somebody tried to do, in here, like with this one, it's telling me that it came in today, or on the 7th at 1939, and it said, okay, it's already working left in, something's going on here. And so then it sat there in that status until my coworker picked it up today. It will also, if you look at the archive logs, it'll show you this one only goes back to last year, 8/13, but it'll show you everything that happened on this telephone number ever.
Mm-hmm.
So and sometimes that's really useful if sometimes the host name will change something, and the records didn't get updated. That'll show in these archive logs. So that's what that's for. But then that's what that service manually locked. Those always have to be looked at and investigated. Some of the rest of these, like this one here, is an ATM. It's in Fallout. Generally, what these have been in Fallout for, I'll just show you this because I saw something else on that thing. If I look in the logs here, it says there it's all provisioned. And then the logs say that the automatic, it failed to translate. So we can try with this one because that was on the, it stays in the status. It doesn't retry them. So this was on the 7th. It tried it and it said, oh, I can't translate it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try and see what we get. And so then whenever I'm going to try to translate it, it has all my assignments, the same as on the IP data. All my assignments are in here. In our XML image. This is the image that comes over from service delivery. So I'm going to just try to translate this one. So if I set it to automatic on an ATM, it will notify the host by itself. Otherwise, that has to be done. But we'll just try it and see what. Does you have changes?
And so that's basically putting the order back in flow through. And what'll happen is there's a robot that'll come by and pick that order. It's queued.
Yeah, if you set it back in automatic, it should come back. Some of those it won't come back and pick up. This one, the ready to translate, it would have. Now it translated automatically, so that changed this from we had ready to translate over here before is what it said, and now it shows it's going to be ready to complete. So our order's done.
So we didn't make any changes, right? We just changed the option ready to translate, right?
Okay, I couldn't hear you there. You were cutting out.
No, we didn't make any.
We made it.
There's a lot of noise on the line.
Right. We didn't make any. We didn't have to do anything with the programming. It was all there. It was whenever it went to try to translate it and put it into the system, then it fell out because I don't know why. It's for some reason it just wouldn't. The log said that it failed to send the automatic translation.
So you went by that error code, like translation.
Right. Then so whenever I hit the this said untranslated, so I hit auto translate and it turns into translations in progress. And if it had a problem, then it would fall out again. It would say untranslated, and then you'd go to your logs to find out what the problem was. So, but this one was good. And had that not worked because of the.
Do we have the methods and procedures for this error?
There's a lot of static when you guys are talking.
Yeah, it's going in and out. But I heard about methods and procedures, but I don't know.
Hey, Kathy, I have an idea. Can we just get off the Skype bridge and just go on the Zoom bridge? Right? So it'll be one bridge.
Okay, well. Okay.
All right.
Hold on, let me try and go over there.
I'm going to hang up.
All right, I'll be right back with you. Okay.
All right, so everybody go to the Zoom bridge and I'll hang up the Skype bridge.
Hello, Ramo.
Hey, yeah, Raj. Can you hear me?
Yep. Sorry about the bridge confusion.
Yeah, I know. I was also trying to dial in. I thought I dialed in again into Zoom. Then I realized I am already in Zoom. Because you were telling Kyle to dial in, right? I thought I also should dial in.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think I'm back in here.
Better.
Yeah, Kathy, can you hear me now? Better.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can hear you a lot better now.
But we still have static somewhere. Everybody, please go on mute. Only.
So I was inquiring about the methods and procedures.
Right. Well, and I don't know. I guess Kyle or Sharon would have to answer that because I don't know what they would send you.
Okay.
And I don't hear them.
And here's
Kyle's
a
back.
question.
Oops, and still staticky.
Mm. Okay, Kyle, and I don't know if you can answer that about his question about do they have methods or procedures?
Well, okay, so I would say sketchy and old, and hard to tell how, you know, what value they're going to be. But Sharon, do you have anything else?
No, just like you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I sent Raj a bunch of individual M&Ps for specific kind of functions. That's kind of what, and I sent you a general training document that our trainer would use, but they're all pretty outdated.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, so basically, like this one's done. But on all of these, if you look in the logs, they're going to tell you what the problem is. Like this one here, I can tell is probably a working left-in. So because it's telling me that the whole site is complete. So nothing's in here. So, okay, so this one also says it's a working left-in.
And Kyle, you were referring to some work in progress, which is going to do some cleanup. Can you just provide a just high-level overview on that stuff?
Right. Yeah, we have in development it's called the Ghost Buster, or the Ghost Record tool, because it's looking for some of these working left-in and leftover old stale records. And what it's really going to do is kind of a bash or a comparison against NCON. And if there's no working service at that position, you know, for that device in NCON, and there is working service in Integrator, we're going to delete or cancel that service out of Integrator. And so the goal there is to try and get less working left-ins and less fallout for working left-ins going forward. What it doesn't do is address root cause of why things are getting left in Integrator to begin with. And that we don't have a solution for. I don't think we have a root cause.
Okay.
Okay, so when I went and looked at our working left-in on this one, it tells me that this one just went in. It says it went in on 10/1. They really don't want to take it out if it's supposed to be in there.
what I'm doing now is just looking in some of this to see if they're actually being billed for this number. Because on an ATM, if I take this out, then it's going to take the customer out of service. Okay, so this says that number hasn't posted. Where am I at? 505. I'm going to bring up another system. This is NCON. Usually I have all this up, but I wanted the bare minimum up for this meeting so my computer would work better. But
So there were two. It showed Nebraska and one more stuff, right? So how did you select those states?
okay, because there's two regions. In NCON and service delivery, it's split into regions. It's split into Nebraska, which handles the eastern region of.
It's 7 states per server. So
Okay.
the address she wants happens to work out of the Nebraska server, if that's where you're logging in. Or
this is Colorado. This is
Colorado.
505.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on what area code or what state you're in. That's where you're going to find it.
Okay. So we have 7 databases in Martins on the other side. So that is how we use state the area code and then appropriately use the database.
Right. For this application for NCON, there's only 2.
Okay.
And NCON works. I mean, that's where all of our IP data go through there too. That are automatically provisioned. They're all done in this system. So what this is telling me is it's not working in NCON. So probably the order was canceled. So then if it's not working in NCON, I feel pretty good about taking it out. So I'm going to go do that. So on an ATM, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's kind of that ghost record situation, right? We don't know why this record is still showing as pending in Integrator, but there's no service in NCON. So there you go.
And it's causing us a problem. So for some reason, whatever the order is that put this in, probably had a cancellation pass, and we didn't get it. So this one was from 2014. So depending on, that brings up another thing. On all these orders on here, on all the types of services, it keeps everything on this telephone number. So all the orders, like this one here, was for a Cree Watterson or whatever, and then at one time Evelyn Jacobs had it, and so it shows you who had different orders on this system. So I would say probably Evelyn's our person here, since. Okay, so this one in at 5. So it says it's completed, but on here it will also show on here on the service order text. This was pre'd, but it never got a completion pass. This in here would either say a PCN, which means it went through all the systems and the order's complete, or it says a CAN is canceled, but that doesn't never necessarily mean that the order was actually canceled. It might have been canceled out of service delivery, so that you really got to check too. So the first thing I'm going to do then, because of the tracking on ATM, we have to notify the host that either on selection, connect, disconnect, cancel, and a speed change. So I'm going to notify the host on a cancel. This isn't so important for everything that's IP data is US WestNet. However, if it's, we have .NOTs, other companies, and they need to have a notification that we canceled them out of there. So and we don't have those on IP data, only on ATMs. So now I can auto and translate this. Oh my God. And so the next time that a customer comes in and they give them this telephone number, it's going to come and attach to this SV again and provision it. Usually there isn't a problem. You'll see a lot of people on one SV. So now we've untranslated. We notified the host. We untranslated it. So now I can discontinue this.
And so there you're actually sending commands to the network, right? When you say you untranslate it, yeah.
Right. So we cancel that. It completed that out. We'll save it.
So Kathy, when you said when someone comes in and the same telephone number is assigned to them, so they get the same VPI, VCI, all the other stuff remains the same? Nothing changes?
No, because I've discontinued that now. The next time they give it to somebody else, it'll come in provision just like it's new. It's just all this on that same telephone number. And this can be kind of a problem here. If you notice on this screen, it says I have two screens here. So what very well may have happened on this one, and the reason that we have a working left in, is there are two SVs with that same telephone number. So this one here that I have highlighted was our active one. That if the cancel order came through, it might have attached itself to this particular SV. So that sometimes causes problems. Like I said, if you had a cancellation pass, something like that came through, it attaches to the wrong SV. So your SV is still sitting out there programmed and everything. And it this one had an order that was canceled on 9/19 of this year. So it probably canceled before it ever even got going. But it attached itself. It sometimes picks up the wrong SV if both of them were working. So that's what happens with those. So that can cause a problem, a working left-in problem. I would say that's why this one was a working left-in. But so far, we used to, that used to be part of our work, that we had a list that came through that said you have multiple SVs on this working number, and we'd go clear them out. But technically, we really don't have time to do that for a long time. So we haven't done it in quite a while. So, okay, so now we're back to our order. And on an ATM, okay, here's our location. Here's our silly code. Do my pencil, make it. I'm going to do a POTS port here. Okay, so this gave me another list over here. So we'll go over here, select that one. Okay, now I need to know what my speed is. And I'm going to put in my speed.
And the speeds will be a consolidated list of the profile supported across all vendors?
Yeah, they should be.
Okay.
So, and it'll, so it should list them. And on this one, we need to inform net speed because it's an ATM. And then it already has our host in here, which would be also on your XML. On ATMs, it'll tell you it's US West Net Albuquerque is what this says. On your IP data, it says US West Net, and it never gives the. Usually, if you put it in, you're okay. Sometimes you might have to go look up the host to see who it's supposed to be. So, and that's the only difference. And like I said, this one, the IP data ones are already working once they go through NCON. On this, it has to be, once you translate it, it's working. If it's not translated, then it doesn't work. While we're waiting for this, another thing I could tell you is on ATMs, whenever you have attempt deny, you would turn our port down. If your port's down, they're also not going to work. So now, see, then this puts in the VPI, VCI. This is already populated by our assignments. So now I'm going to highlight my thing, and I'm going to put set to automatic. Well, what we could do is not set that to automatically, and I'll show you what happens. So now it's trying to translate that. And we don't have, usually about the most that we have with ATMs might be a big number during the day. Nowadays would be 20. You know, there's not a lot. So it says it translated. So as you can see up here, then this one would have just flowed through and worked by itself had it not had that working left in there. But it changes our process status here to translated. So then I would go back by clicking it on automatic. If I notify our host on connect now, that changed our process status here. Wherever our order went now. Okay, so here's our order right now. And now it changed this from translated to ready to complete. And that's what we want, is ready to complete. So, and I can set this here to automatic too. So that's an ATM processing. Now the other thing, and I don't know if you care about this, whenever I change this says that this was the robot that had this, that tried to do anything with it, was the last person. By me clicking on automatic over there, it didn't put my name on it. That's how you either get credit for your work, or see, like once I opened it up, it put my name on here. And so then I would just put it back in automatic. And the only reason that helps sometimes is if you want to know, if I want to know, did the system do something to this? It's never been through anything. That helps me sometimes, or to know that somebody else was in there trying to work it, and what did they get. So otherwise, that's an ATM. Does anybody have any questions on those?
You were telling that if the port is down, the order will not flow through, right?
Right. If this port status is down, yeah, it won't. This won't. Only on ATMs, because the ATMs have these two sides, and they don't have an IPTV services tab. So,
okay.
If you turn the port down.
Okay, and you can turn them up from here, from Integrator.
Right. Okay. You're right. You would just do on this, I can turn it down, put it down, or put it back up.
Okay.
I just click that button. Okay. And you shouldn't see that a lot, except for it would only be down if it usually in temp deny or seasonal suspend. So that is a ATM. And I don't know. What else do you want to see, or
I mean,
do we want to keep going here now, or?
I guess, Greg, to me, I mean, this is kind of what their role with Integrator is and what the majority of the work is. You know, I'm sure there's other specific work types that, you know, we could explore. I don't know how far you wanted to go today.
Yeah, I think this is good, and we are a little over. I really wanted Velancani to just get an initial feel of what Integrator is doing, you know, what Kathy's having to do there, and then, you know, be able to take away and kind of process that a little bit, and then, you know, we can talk back with Velancani on your thoughts here in a couple of days and see if we need to look at anything else or go further or, you know, go from there. So that's what I wanted to accomplish, and I think we've done pretty good with that today.
Okay.
Okay.
Raj, you agree?
I think that's good for now. Ramu, and so maybe what we need to talk about on a separate call is what do we want to, like, what is your end goal that you would like to see, right? Because I think you guys are implementing robots to, like, you know, take care of some of this stuff, right? Some of the bot stuff that's going on. And so we would like to understand, okay, so if you want to go from here, so what's your, you know, dream state?
Yep, I think that's a fair conversation. I think, Kyle, you and I probably need to get together, you know, based off what we've looked at from the COE process and the projects we got out there, and say, where do we want to go with this as well?
Yeah.
And so we'll have that conversation, Rod, and then we'll get together, you know, maybe early next week and kind of talk about where we're at from there. Okay. I think this is good. I think it's a good start.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right, Kathy, appreciate it as always. Thank you for doing this for us.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bye.